Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We believe that it's very important that once the organizations get the recognition of their rights, the second challenge is to manage them correctly and to settle them clearly and fast. That's why it is important to have good tools. In the first place, we have the three main tools. There are more, but these are the main. We're going to start with AVSYS module, the one on the left. It is an integrated system that enables an organization can do all the necessary operations to manage authors' rights. And let me clarify it because it's very important that the development of all these tools, well, we're following the best practices and recommendations published by the World Organization of Intellectual Property, of the OMPI. They publish technical recommendations and we follow closely that, so we keep ourselves on the good track. Main features of the system include repertoire for authors and works, processing and identifying works, calculation on the values of broadcasting according to caste regulation, depending on organization, management of payments, reports, statistics, and also something very interesting, different indexes that the tool can give us to, for instance, if the organization wants to certify ISO standards in the future, it's including statistics to be able to generate indexes. So AVSYS has, as more important points, it's designed especially for managing audiovisual authors' works. We removed the complexity of maintaining compatibility with musical works. It is specifically developed for audiovisual works. It's scalable, so when we develop a new feature, all organizations using AVSYS already have it available. Another characteristic that is very important too is open code. If organizations have technical, qualified personnel that can develop their own features for that organization, that can also be shared to other members of AVACI. Here we mentioned two important modules associated to AVACI. One is the video log, a specific module that enables recording multiplexed manner and large number of analog television signal. The system records time, date, broadcasting signal, and the image what is being broadcasted on the screen, mainly used for verification tasks and to verify that a specific work was broadcasted shown in a platform. Then we'll briefly see an example of edit scene. Another fundamental tool in one of the added values already integrated in AVSYS is the matching tool module. Here, let me show you. It is a specific module specialized in recognizing works. It uses different algorithms to be able to recognize if within a list of broadcasting, a playlist, there are works that are managed by the administration. It uses titles, original title, name of authors, years production, actors, codes of the provider, as well as international codes if they were available. Depending on the country and the platforms, there might not be all the data available, but the matching tool enables to define roles and based on what it is in existence or in place to use the recognition. Now then, we're moving on to the next tool. Very useful for an organization, especially beginning ones, is the online audiovisual work declaration. This module will enable to create easily, in very few states, a complete site of audiovisual works declaration. It has templates predefined in different languages, and with very few steps, it can be configured. First step, select language shown on the website, on the page. There's templates, but those templates are not fixed, but each organization can adjust the text depending on their need of the country or the region. Second configuration, you can populate data from the organization contact data, phone numbers, etc. Third step, the formats of works that those authors can declare before the society from the organization and what platforms they can claim in the organization. And the last step, we establish the roles if we're going to receive only from directors or directors and screenwriters, etc. We will also see an example of how we manage this site. This is not just finished, but is added because it's nearly finished. It's an extension of this module that can be installed in smartphone applications and Android, and it's being developed, but we're almost there. Basically, it's for the comfort of authors to be able to declare their works directly from a mobile application. Finally, from the tools, we have the AVACI database, a database. Let me show you. It's an international database containing information of directors, screenwriters, producers of audiovisual works. Include information on the works and the CMOs and authors that represent them. The main objective of this database is to simplify the exchange of repertoires between organizations, the CMOs. The most important point is that it was designed exclusively, specifically for the audiovisual sector. Here we have removal of things related to musical works that audiovisual has to integrate. It has more complexity to insert audiovisual content in a place that is prepared for music. It is also very important to mention that its use is free. It does not require payment of royalties nor subscription for the AVACI members. As I said, it's very much oriented to facilitating the exchange of repertoires if organization does not have technical resources to format information or generate tools. They always have the possibility of using simple methods, just as uploading text files or Excel files. And if the organizations have more technical power, they can use much modern tools called web service that enable the integration to other systems with the database from AVACI. So we saw the tools. These are the tools. And now we're going to share a demo of the AVSYS system. For this demo, I prepared a case study where we use the main features, going from the declaration of a work to the final payment, right? So imagine an organization starts this activity. The first thing they need to do is that the authors declare the works. For that, they go into the builder, the declaration of works sector. Remember, this is free. Once you're associated to AVACI, you can have free use of it. Then you can choose the language with which the organization is going to show their website, the different contact data. They can choose styles, so it matches the declaration with the institutional website. The logos are going to be all from the organization. And the most important is that it includes all the different necessary sectors for the declaration of the work. This is not just text, but within each module there is logics that has been pre-programmed, so they can create an account, get emails, confirmation. So that's pre-arranged and it can be configured by logging into each sector. It also includes sectors of declaration of works, what kind of work, with what characteristics, with what texts they're going to be shown. It includes the management for authors to classify them by states and the requests of works too. This is the first step to be able to have declarations. Once that site is working, where authors can declare their works, they can enter the AVSYS system. I will only show part of it to keep it simple. There's many features. We'll go to this. You can go into the reception box for the declaration of works. This can be classified in states. Depending on the advance or the characteristics of each society, they might need more or less information. All of that is done by the configuration of the views and saying what they can, AVSYS can manage, what things I want, what I'm interested in, I can add or delete whatever I don't want in my daily management. This is thought for it to be flexible compared to other organizations with different states and different volumes of information. For this to be functional and useful for everybody, the rules and configuration can be done through an engine included here. For instance, if I want to manage the requests in a specific manner, I can go into here and see what rules are applied, modify them, add new ones, new transitions between one state and the other. All of this can be configured and recorded, and from there the system responds to those rules. There can be simple rules or much more complex ones.
So all of these are rules that can be configured. So you can see that it's actually beyond this presentation if you want to see it in greater detail. But all these works then, once you review them, you apply what's necessary and they are approved, then you include templates where the authors can make the physical signature. So that's configured. You can change languages. In this case, it's in Spanish. But then you can create the PDF, you can print it, or electronic signatures if you want to add. Okay, so this is in terms of how to manage the requests. This creates the repertoire or repertory that can later on be worked into twofold. On the one hand, authors that can be classified by the society or organization that represents them. Over here, I can also choose which data I want to work with them. So there is a lot of information and I can just choose what I want. Then the information is divided into different groups, author groups, contact, international codes, which are the works that are conducted there, which are the organizations that represent them, as, for example, producer in India, for example, this is the CMO. So those, I mean, of course, this is not consistent because it's just by means of example. And then you can have search options. So you can, I don't know, make the search by name, last name, surname. Then you have the repertory of works, very similar to what we had for authors. Then you can choose which are the data that you want to work with. Then there are information groups of different data or information about the work, international codes, other titles in other countries, authors, episodes, the settlement or payments. And you can also search here any part of the title, any work, and you can find them here. Okay, so we already saw the declaration and we saw how the repertory works. Fortunately, now we move on to the next part. Let me give you a brief idea of what this is all about. The distribution rules. Distribution rules allow the possibility to allocate a certain amount of points to each work, and those points can be weighed with different weights. So it can be rating, it can be how long it lasts because of time, ranges, or whichever, I mean, whatever is defined by the declaration of that organization, and that provides points to these broadcastings. Those points will be added, and then the final income will be divided. I mean, there are some coefficients explaining how much each point is worth, and it will create what each broadcast is worth. So then you will get the percentage for each of the authors, and that's the way in which we can use the information to get all the coefficients and the results. Then we can also talk about the work identification, which is the matching tool. So these are the results of the search for works. Just give me 1 second so that it can find some works. So what they are doing is that they are checking all the lists with the repertory. And there we go. There we have all the works that they found. And from now on, then the income or the settlement project continues. I know it was a bit of a long explanation. I apologize for that, but it was necessary, I think, for you to know all the possibilities that you have with this tool.